we'll discuss other things. So before we begin on the sevens, and if I hope your sevens are laid out in a row. I always like them laid out with the chariot on the end. So I know that you just started listening to the videos, and there's a couple of you that are actually just joining in on this month. Oh. But what you'll find is how I'm teaching this is actually taking you through the journey of the Fool. So when I tell you to put your sevens down and you see the chariot down with it, all of the sevens that we need to experience lead us to this universal power that lies within the chariot. So it's like we're attaining something from each card. Hi. I think it's 5-year time. My place is going to get darker as you watch me. I'm in a good mood. It's not me darkening the place. No, just kidding. So we're doing the sevens right now, so you can take out your sevens. But it also represents a lot of the year and the wheel of the year. So if you take a look at the astrological thing, some people are into astrology. The astrology of what happens in through the month of July also lies within the changes and transformations of all of these sevens in your deck. So this month, all of these cards are in play. And we are going into the highest peak of who we are this year. This is where like everything we have becomes us. We're blooming, right? Just like all of nature. And as we go through these changes, all of these cards are going to come up this month. Like that's 5 cards. That's busy month. But each one of these things are in play. And so that's what I want to kind of get into today. And before we get into that, I also wanted to get into the timing. So let's talk about when you're doing readings. Some people are asking, well, what is the timing? What does the timing mean when you're doing readings? And how is it determined? So the timing is based on, we can use the suits and the elements. Okay, so for our example, if we take a look at the minor arcana cards, from the aces to the tens, the value of the day depends on the number and the elements. For example, if you got five of wands, indicates 5 days, and it's in the summer. So I want to get into a little bit of the different timing of the tarot. So let's go into sorry, I'm so what a day. One sec. Let me get grounded for a minute. My smudge is burning. So one of the things to remember, swords are minutes to days. So whenever you're taking a look and you're like, okay, let's try something. Now, I know your sevens are out. That's okay. But grab your deck and let's ask a question. When will I receive unexpected blessing? Okay, so let's ask that. When are you going to receive an unexpected blessing? But you want to say, when am I? And I always make sure I shuffle the cards a minimum of 3 times. And the reason why is because 3 is very powerful. And when we're communicating with spirit, there's a universal law that comes into play that whenever we ask the question 3 times, we get the correct answer. Spirit cannot lie if you ask a question 3 times. And so if we're confused on something, make sure you ask 3 times. So I hope you pulled out your cards. You pulled out 3 cards. This is when is the next unexpected blessing coming our way. Okay. And turn them over, and you want to see what suit comes up. Oh my gosh. I got 2 cups and a pentacle. So you can put it in your chat or you can speak it out. But swords are minutes to days. Wands are days to weeks. And cups are weeks to months. And pentacles are months to years. So first you want to take a look, and what do you have the most suit of? So I have two cups, which means weeks to months. And oh, I have to push that chat thing, I think, too. So if you, do you have 2 of one suit, or do you have all different suits?
I have different ones.
Okay, so then they would all apply. So a day, a week, and a month, right? Unless it's a pentacle. The pentacles are the year.
What do the major arcana represent then?
The universal power, the universal power that's bringing you the blessings. So remember, the minor arcana cards are what happens when we're living. So when you look at the cards you just picked on your unexpected blessing, that's the interaction that's going to happen in our life. But whenever a universal card comes in, so a major arcana card, that is a universal power that's coming into your life. And so it represents why you're going through that change. There's some kind of attainment. There's something that it's like destined. So we can't change anything when a major arcana card comes up. The only thing we can change are the minor arcanas. So if I do a reading for myself and I'm like, okay, right now I'm looking at what is my next blessing, and I got 2 cups, and that is 18. And I'm sitting there going, okay, well, cups represent weeks to months. So that's going to be 18 weeks to 18 months. Well, that sucks. I want one sooner. So can I get one sooner? You can pull 3 cards. And it's saying, what do I need to do to receive an unexpected blessing sooner? And they're probably like, well, you don't really do anything in your home. You don't really leave your house. How are you supposed to have something big happen to you? There could be some online stuff. I do pretty good on the casino online. But the minor arcanas, we can change. So when you're practicing the cards this month, if something comes up like a 5, 5s to me, it's like, ugh, I hate the 5s, because I know that it's going to be some kind of unexpected change, and it's always a pain in the ass. But when I do experience those things, if there is a major arcana in it, then I know that it's like important. There's a law, there's something that I'm meant to achieve and attain. And in our life, we are going to experience every one of these cards. And sometimes we have merry-go-rounds where we experience the same cards like every year until we learn the lesson, right? So major arcanas represent the blessing that is coming your way. The next blessing has universal power in it. So what major arcana did you get with it? Temperance. So that is a feeling that you're actually going to feel something ground you. Like you're going to feel yourself settle, and you're also going to find that you're in a new balanced state. But it's important for you to honor 2 aspects of your consciousness right now, of your personality. So you're thinking 2 different ways. And your blessing has to do with making a decision. So sometimes you want something, but then you tell yourself you don't really want it.
Well, it's interesting you say it about the fives because the last of the three cards was the Five of Wands.
And that represents your career and your work and your enterprises.
So five.
I know.
I always get them.
So that means that you, right? You need to initiate something. Make a decision. So what is it that you're going to do? And I feel like you should definitely be keep pushing online. Right?
That's what
Well,
I was thinking.
good, good. What did you get, Shauna, for your major arcana?
I got Judgment.
That's awesome, because that means that you're going to actually experience something going into your favor. And to you, what other suits did you get?
I got Page of Pentacles and I got Nine of Cups.
Okay, so you got a page and a knight. So that actually represents two different blessings coming your way.
It's a
And
nine.
oh, a 9. Okay, 9 is awesome. That's like a step up. Page, but the page represents the unexpected.
Okay.
So something unexpected is going to happen. And you're going to feel like there's been some kind of breakthrough. It's like, finally, we're at this place. And so there's an attainment to it. So I think you're going to get good news about something. And you're going to be like, yes, finally. So some kind of breakthrough. Yeah, unexpected. So you don't have to create it. Mine came with a page of pentacles, which means that my unexpected blessing is probably going to be something I'm going to buy. Oh, I asked my husband, can I have a pet? I want a toy chihuahua or a little mini cup. And he's like, you can have a cricket. So that's what I'm allowed. Okay. So remember, and you're going to have this video, and why don't I create something that will have that will show you the timeline. So swords are during our minutes to days. So whenever swords comes up, that's like happening right now in the present. So when you see, oh, wow, there's a lot of swords in this reading, there's a lot going on in their present life right now. Okay. And swords always represent the intellect. So there are actual decisions and things that we're carrying mentally. Okay. So and that makes sense. We're always, changing and carrying things mentally every day. So whenever you have lots of swords, be present. Don't go focusing, 3 months ahead. Just like breathe and get present. Okay. If you get lots of cups, then the reading represents what's happening in those months. So if I do a reading and I see a whole bunch of cups in it, I'll take a look at the closest cup or the smallest. So 2 of cups, say, is in the reading. Then I know within 2 months, something is going to happen. And then I'll take a look at the last cup. Is it the queen or is it a number? Maybe it's the 7 of cups. Then I know that this situation from the 2 to the 7, everything within those cups are linking. Those are the things that are taking place. So you can link certain situations by following the numbers. And usually in readings, you'll see that the cups are growing. Or not the cups, the numbers are going. They'll go from like 2 to 8. And you'll see those, if there is an incline in numbers, then they're in a stage where they are developing and growing. Now, sometimes we are in a state in our life where we're in a place where we're releasing everything and we're taking care of business and we're going through changes. And when that happens, you'll see where the higher numbers drop along the future. So they're going from maybe a 9, and then all of a sudden later on in their reading, you see the 3s. Okay. So if we are in a releasing mode in our life, where changes are happening and our path is shifting, then we may see 7s, 6s, 3s, and you'll see a drop down in the numbers. If we are in a place of building things in our life and growing, then we will see the numbers incline. And whenever you see the double digit, so if you get 2 7s in a reading, then that's the transformation. Then you're going to go from, say, the 7 of Wands to the 7 of Cups. So their journey is going to be more on not so much focusing on the day and getting everything done, to more of a day where they're focusing on how they feel. And they're paying attention to, they're tuning into their intuition. So you want to take a look at, if numbers show up and there's more than one, what suit in their life, how is it changing? Sometimes people will have a emotional life, and then it switches and they have to start focusing on their finances. So you want to see where those things take place. Now, because we are in, what do the court cards mean for timeline wise? So court cards usually represent something happening like within months, right? So if you see a court card, you want to take a look at the largest number in the reading, because that number represents the mastery of what you need to achieve or your client needs to achieve. So if I look at the Queen and I see that most of the reading has cups in it, and she's got the Queen of Cups, then I know that her whole journey is about her own development and her own intuition and how she feels in life and the things that she really has to receive and attain. It's more of a spiritual draw. Okay. Or if it's a lot of pentacles, then it represents money and her physical body and how she feels physically in life. So you want to take a look at what is that Queen mastering right now. And the Queen doesn't have to match the dominant cards in the reading. Okay. So now that we are actually going into the 7s, oh, wait, and then the Pentacles represents months to years. Okay. So if you see a 8 of Pentacles, but then later you see a 2, right? Then that would represent 8 months, 2 years. Okay. And you can ask the timing. Give me the timing of when I'll feel the freedom I want financially. And you would look at, pull 3 cards and see what pentacles come up. And that would represent when you're going to attain it, how many years, right? So when I'm doing a reading for someone, I usually have the mind that I'm giving them a 1-year reading with my Celtic cross. However, every time I do their reading, I can tell how often their life changes. So for most people, some people will have every 7 years, their life will change. And you can see that through the doubles. Okay, what's that? What's the double that shows up in the card and the transformation? Okay, or the past card will let you know how many years it took them in that one influence. And that influence is what is creating their present. So because we are now in a place of transformation, and I take your 7s out. So if you just popped in, we have all our 7s out, including the Chariot. Now, if you take a look at these, the first thing you want to do is take a look at the figures. Do you see any females? It's not very many females in those cards, hey? Now, the 7 of Cups can be female. The Seven of Swords definitely is not. Or I don't know about that Seven of Wands. I don't think it. I always feel like the Seven of Wands is male. So you can see that most of these cards are male dominant. Okay. So that represents actual people that will show up and their characteristics. So in the Seven of Cups, you can't see that person. That person is shaded, right? You can only see their back. But you can see there's a blonde on the Chariot. And if you look at the Wands, that's kind of like a light blonde brown hair. And the Seven of Swords has dark hair, maybe gray, like salt and pepper. So you want to use the characteristics of the people in the card for descriptions. And some of these people may be spirit. So look at the Seven of Cups. There's a cup there with a spirit cloaked. So whenever the Seven of Cups shows up, take a look at the card around it and see where the spirit is. Because the Seven of Cups always represents some kind of spirit in play. So I can look at my layout when I have the cards out and see if the spirit is male or female. So you want to look for the other cups first. Is there any more cups? Okay. The other thing you want to do is you always want to look at what position are they looking at. So if you take a look at the Seven of Swords, the Seven of Swords represents someone looking at the future, but they're still walking the path of the past. Okay. And if you take a look at that card, that person has figured out how to take. So they've obviously learned some kind of skill on how to get what they want. Okay. And so a lot of times that card will come up as thievery. That there is someone around taking advantage. And because it's a sword, it's affecting them mentally. Okay. And you can see that there's a group of people in the back. So he's sneaking away. So let's go into the Seven of Wands for a little bit so I can take you further on that. So we are in the month of July, the 7th month. And now we're doing the seven different cards. And I want you to kind of take a look at this because all of these cards are in play this month. We're all going to experience it in some way. Okay. Ooh. And that's why I like to burn smudge, because I'm going to experience it in a very good way. So when you take a look at all of the cards lined up, you're going to see that it represents change. There is some kind of change in each one of these cards. Total change and transformation is taking place. Now, as you look at them, you should be able to recognize the card's general meaning by looking at the pictures. So you always want to take a look at the picture. Now, when you take a picture or when you're looking at it, certain ideas and maybe flashes of situations will come forward. Sometimes you'll see your own flashes, or sometimes you'll see flashes of other people, the person you're reading. Even if it's your own flash of a memory, that information is what is in play. So you want to take a look at the wisdom and the stuff that comes through. So if you take a look at the Seven of Wands, and to me, that reminds me of all of the hard work I've put out. And it's like, where's the rewards, right? Like, I'm working hard. It feels like you're working hard, right? But when you look at that card and when we go into the interpretation in a minute, you'll see that it's actually different. But I think of the memories. So each card is a doorway. and they're designed to trigger our subconscious mind. So our subconscious mind will trigger visions, feelings, memories. Even if you have a flash of someone you knew in the past, all of a sudden it's like, oh, there's Peter, right? Do you know someone named Peter? I guarantee you they're going to probably say yes. So you want to pay attention to any like pop-ins that happen. If something pops in, that is spirit guiding you. Have you ever broken free from someone and you haven't talked to them for, a week because they're pissed off, but you think of them and it's like they just pop in your mind? That is them attached to us. That is our psychic self saying, hey, this energy is in play right now. Unless we create the thoughts, we are receiving guidance. And some people are like, well, then I'm receiving guidance all day long. Well, probably because it's around us, right? It depends on the state and what we're focusing on. So you want to be able to recognize kind of the general meaning of what these represent to you. When you take a look at the Seven of Swords, what does that mean? To me, it triggers someone who took advantage of me. Someone who thought that, they left a little bit, but took a lot. And I, in my place in life, have been constantly in cycles where I over-sacrifice myself. And I had to really learn how that is something that we shouldn't be doing unless, it is purposeful, unless we know where it's headed. Then you take a look at the Seven of Cups. And when I see that, I think of like the first time I saw a spirit, or the first time I experienced something that was like just out of the blue. Maybe it was like, woo, you won something. Or maybe it was, you experienced a spirit, or maybe you had a close call, right? And you were saved, so the Seven of Cups represents some kind of miracle, some kind of happening. And it also represents being in the dark about it, and all of a sudden there it was. When you take a look at the Seven of Pentacles, you can see that he's looking at his garden. And to me, that is very similar to the Seven of Wands, okay? Because they're both looking at their garden, but they're facing different directions. So whenever you see people in the cards and they're going to the right of you, like towards the way you read, okay, that means that it has to do with moving forward into the future. If you see in the card like the Seven of Pentacles, he's facing the left, then that means that he is reflecting on all of his past work and wondering, when am I going to reap this harvest? But he knows the harvest is there. So you want to look at the direction of where the people are facing. And very often we are told, stay present. Or if we're busy and our minds are crazy, a lot of times the cups will come up and say, get rid of the past. You're being triggered by the past. Or sometimes we're looking at our cards and it's like, whoa, this actually is going to bring us growth for our future. So you always want to take a look at what direction the people are in the cards. For us, because we're females, these cards can still represent happenings with us. They may have to do with a man in each one, but they can also represent the growth that we need to attain, or our masculine side needs to obtain. Okay. So the sevens always represent a situation where we are receiving growth, right? We're starting to see results. The transformation is there. Now we're open to receive. Okay. So let me see. let's go to, we'll do the 7 of Wands first. Okay. Now the 7s always represent a change to a higher consciousness. So whenever the 7s show up, it's like a step up next in life. Okay. So once you recognize the doing and what they're going to be receiving, the 7 is that step up. So financially, if it's a 7 of Pentacles, they're going to receive a step up financially, right? It's a higher state of being. And it actually represents the ending of the cycle and the unfolding of the spirit or the soul. And that's why the connection is transforming who we are. It transforms who we are, and it also puts us into a higher state. So things feel easier, and we do feel like, okay, things are going in the right direction. And that's what the Chariot represents, being able to sit in neutral and feeling that flow. So the 7s also will represent re-evaluation and reassessment. So if you're doing a reading and it has to do with your career, or maybe you're working on a side hustle and the 7s come up, then it always means like reevaluate, take a look at it. There's just something there that needs to change for better results. Okay. So the 7s represent things that we desire, like our dreams and the dreams that we want to come true, because that's what our spirit wants. Our spirit wants to attain that perfect vision of who we are and what we want, our wholeness, right? It seeks our wholeness. So one of the 7s will represent a dreaminess. Okay, so where's the one that's kind of dreaming? One of them will represent indecisiveness. So it's like they don't know what they want to do. Another one is confrontation. So there's one that's kind of a confrontation, and betrayal and theft in the other. So each of these are a cycle that's now coming into an end. That's the transformation. Okay. So this month of July, the 7 of Wands is in play for all of us. And that actually represents dealing with confrontation, or I don't want to say total confrontation. Maybe it's just something we find that's a little difficult, but that's what this is happening. And the character in the card is actually standing higher ground. And there's a group of people below them. So all of these wands that it looks like he's working so hard, but all of the wands are actually being handed to him. He's actually experiencing victory in this card. So now he has the energy and has turned opposing circumstances to a point where he is receiving. And now he's maintained his position. So he's won. He's sitting on the hill and everybody is helping him. There's positive power behind the scenes. And that's why Rider created this without being able to see the people below, because it represents the positive power behind the scenes. So some kind of confrontation we may have dealt with already, or we will by the end of the month, but it's happening so that we can move forward. Okay. It also represents pursuing something and believing in yourself. So it's really important for us to stand and with our point, maintain what we believe, and then you'll find that you have the power to pursue something new. So this card wants us to move forward with determination. That's why that power is behind the scenes. His spirit is devoted to continuing on his venture. it also means that we've already experienced ups and downs in attempting to fulfill what we want. So what happens with the Seven of Wands is the universal law of function comes into play. And that is something that we in life that is determined to manifest into perfect form. Whenever we put something, our intentions into something, and we connect with it to the point where our psychic self agrees and says, yep, your conscious mind, your mental mind wants it, so does your psyche. The law of function comes into play, and it creates that cycle of manifestation for you. So this card, Seven of Wands, always means it's time to follow through, but it's also time for you to experience the spiritual self in your day-to-day life. A situation is coming ahead and that it's going to have to be faced. But it doesn't mean that it's this big negative thing. So don't blow up, okay? Don't let the inner child come out. It just means that what you have, this encounter is a door that closes the same encounter that has already occurred before. So if something is difficult or you're dealing with difficulties this month or there's some kind of competition, you're actually aligned to the energies of the universe because that's what's happening through this month. And it's important on how you deal with a situation. That's where the power of transformation comes in. So remember that whatever arises this month is meant to improve your life. So just right action, don't lose it. Okay. Now, when the Seven of Wands comes up reversed, so sometimes the cards come up upside down, then it means that there will be no confrontation, or if a confrontation has occurred already, and this is coming up reversed, then there's no end to it. It's like one of those things that, happened. Let's go into the Seven of Swords, okay? Or no, let's do the Cups. So the Seven of Cups. I love the Seven of Cups because whenever the Seven of Cups comes up in a reading, it means that the spirits want you to experience something. And it's like, Georgina, pay attention. We're going to be making this known to you. So the Seven of Cups represents the seeker's motivation, and it represents they don't really know which way to go. The direction isn't clear, even to themselves. So that's why the silhouette of the person shows up in this card, because they're kind of in the dark. They don't know what to do and not understanding their desires. So there's some kind of indecision. Now, each one of these cups represents some kind of different choice. The choices have to do with lifestyle and motivation. And it also represents the spiritual power there and ready to give them to the seeker. Okay. So this also represents some of the spiritual energy, like competition. Or if you see the cup with the wreath and the skull on it, that represents, the competition and the jealousy. There's temptation with the snake. So maybe something is tempting you, right? What is that? And then you'll see that there is some kind of spirit that's cloaked. And that is one that is trying to bring itself known to you. You'll see a female spirit, and that female spirit represents your family's gifts and abilities and ancestor. And then you'll also see that there is an unfolding spiritual nature that's happening to the card. Okay, so it's a card of, could also be confusion at times. But whenever I see this in a reading, I know that my client, the seeker, needs to come to know themselves and make a decision on something. Their true needs are in play. And that's why the aura is around that cup with the spirit, because that cloaked spirit, that emanating aura represents the harmony. And it represents that the seeker has called forth help. The universe is aware of what you want, and now it can help you unfold it. Okay, and this can have the Seven of Cups can represent family, it can represent business, it can represent going to school, it can represent anything that our dreams or our desires of attainment wants. Okay, so Seven of Cups represents the attainments to completion. So they may choose spiritual growth or earthly goals, but that's what it represents. When it's reversed, it can also represent illusions and fantasies about handling situations correctly. So make sure that if this comes up, I always double check. Am I looking at it right? And it's kind of shifted me in my life a few times, especially with dealing with my son. Like sometimes I don't know what to do, so I ask the cards and it helps. So when the Seven of Cups comes up reversed, then it actually represents attainment of enlightenment, like you got the message, okay? There's with the decision you made. So whenever this comes up reversed, there's already action. You're already in that cycle of completion. There's a good choice that's already been made. So reversed, it's a good meaning, as well as that energy of competition can show up. You may see that too with other reversed cards. So you always want to take a look what reversed cards come up. So the seven, I'm going to post a bunch of these videos on these cards. I'm going to do a little bit on the Seven of Cups and go into the Pentacles, but then I want to do a reading. So Seven of Cups, we just did, didn't we? Didn't we just do that? Yes. Duh. Seven of Pentacles. So the Seven of Pentacles, see how it's gray? Black or blue backgrounds always represent, think of the High Priestess. Blue backgrounds in the cards represent your psychic ability, higher connection. Yellow cards represent good things happening. So there's good manifestation. It represents your consciousness, the way you're thinking. So if it's yellow, it's good. Okay. When things are gray in the background, it means that it can manifest either way. It can be a good manifestation, or it can be gray and fall and not come into fruition. Because gray represents the power that we have to feed into it. And so that's why you'll see when you take a look at this card, it's gray. He's looking at it. But if you actually take a look at his shoes. They're two different colors. Why? Because part of him is like, damn, I'm waiting a long time for this harvest. And the other one is, you know, his heart is pure and he's putting that work into it. So look at the Seven of Pentacles as hard work. They feel like they're dissatisfied, right? But something is starting to grow through the efforts. So whenever this card comes up, I know I have to tell myself or my client, you have to keep moving forward. You will be receiving results. You've worked too hard to let it go. It may not feel like it's satisfactory now, but your desires and your motivations are going to bring you your fruition. And they will feel like they're in a place of change. Maybe they no longer feel like they want to work on the same thing. Well, that can happen too. So this represents reflecting on that, but making sure that they're aiming higher. They're not contemplating just leaving because they're done with the work. Okay. The Seven of Pentacles shows up a lot of times in healing readings whenever we're asking about health. And it always represents the body trying to fight through some kind of infection and imbalance. So I always tell them, you should maybe check, if you're not feeling balanced, if your physical body isn't balanced, then you should definitely see somebody. But it gives them the awareness that their body is maybe fighting something, and that's why they feel like that heaviness, and they don't feel like they can really move. They get stagnant. Okay. So those cards, so Seven of Pentacles represents a little more willpower for results as part of the transformation. Your desires, your motivations are in play. And when it is upside down, the work is done. Now they're going to start seeing the results. Or it can, depending on the other cards, it can actually represent a stunt in growth, right? Like they're not going to get the results that they want because they didn't put the work in there. And you would know because it would indicate more money worries. So you always kind of want to take a look at the cards around, okay? But even with the Seven of Pentacles reversed, they still will have a little bit of result. So it's not a total loss, okay? Let's go to the Seven of Swords. I kind of explained. So when the Seven of Swords comes up reversed, it's actually an apology card. And it means that there is some kind of change that has to happen to make things right. And it also means that something that has been taken is going to come back. So the seeker finds that they're giving back something that they lost unexpectedly. So it's actually a pretty good card. But but when the Seven of Swords is upright, then it actually is a warning of self-betrayal. Okay, that's as soon as I see the Seven of Swords, I check in on myself. Okay, so self-betrayal and becoming our own enemy, or like listening to mental habits sometimes. So sometimes we're unaware that this is happening to us. But this card will remind us that we may be acting unconsciously, and that is creating stress. Or maybe we're in a place where we feel like self-defeat. And the lesson in this card is about thinking through your reactions, to pay attention to your thoughts, to get rid of anything negative around that may be in play. It also represents winning. So sometimes if you're asking about work, or I'm working on this project, this would represent a good outcome for you. A lot of times it means moving ahead, but these are swords. So some kind of mental game is involved, whether it's yours or someone else's. So you're going to be stimulated. But it represents renewed energy after battling, okay? The other thing is this card will come up when someone is cheating, or if there's some kind of theft, or if someone is stealing credit, or if there's sabotage. So you want to look at that card, Seven of Swords, as a warning, okay? Something is not right. And if it's not you, then there is something going on around. So let's pull our cards together, okay? And I want you to pull 3 cards. And let's see what energy is in play for you this month, okay? And while you do that, I'm going to go to the 7, the Chariot. So you want 3 cards. And once you have them, take a look at the suits. Did you get any double suits? Now we talked about all of the 7s. Now, when we experience all of those 7s, and each card is a mastery and attainment on how we deal with situations in our life, then the Chariot comes into play. So all of these 7s, I'm going to post these 7s up and the videos, and you'll be able to recognize who and how they came into play by the time we meet up next month. But as we go through that, we're tapping in. When we attain all of those 7s, and we're able to experience those in a balanced state, or what's, just good for us, whatever, the Chariot comes into play. And the power of the Chariot, oops, I'm holding it upside down. The power of the Chariot represents taking direction. So when the Chariot comes up, you can actually choose the direction you want to take. And the Chariot will help you. The energy of the cards will give you the guidance from the Chariot on how to attain what you want. The Chariot also will tell us about the things that we need to control. So if you see some other cards come up that look like, oh my gosh, they're great, then those are the things that we need to take control of and change so that they go into the right direction. But when you take a look at the Chariot, it always represents willpower. So look around, look above the Chariot, below, the past and the present, and take a look at all of the suits. What willpower is in play? Sometimes we're using our willpower in more than one direction in our life. Sometimes it's with our hobbies and our finances, and we still want to do something on the side, right? So the Chariot has to do with, there is some kind of transformation that is happening right now for your success, for your willpower, for your control. Okay. And it represents being guided. You're not doing it by yourself. And even though there's opposing forces with these changes that we're experiencing, we are learning how to be calm and just to be ourselves through it, that it's okay. So when the Chariot shows up in a reading, we've overcome challenges, and now we're in a place where we get to attain victory. There's control in our surroundings. We actually feel like we have perfect control, and our confidence is there. So the key message is remain your focus. In a love relationship, the Chariot means taking action on love, taking control. In a career, it means that there's motivation, that you should be focusing on your work because there is strong growth, there's strong ambition, there's a future there. And when it comes to finances, it means that there's a financial goal that you should put into play, right? So you want to focus on that success. When the Chariot comes up reversed, then it means that you are becoming aggressive. There is a lack of willpower. Maybe you're lacking focus or motivation. So sometimes if you're working on something and this comes up reversed, there's something else you need to connect to. You're not quite there. So you need to like vibe a little higher, take a break, come back to it. But usually that's what it represents, is that you need to feed more energy into things. Okay. There's a lack over the direction. Okay. So now that you've pulled your cards, let's see what you have. So first off, let's do one at a time. And I have Shauna. So let's do 3 cards. What were your cards?
I got 2 of Wands.
Okay.
And Strength.
Wow.
And Queen of Wands.
Oh my gosh. I love that. So in play this month, you have the wands. So wands represents how you want to live life in your day, but it also represents something that you are meant to be doing, because the two of wands means that you're kind of sending out those signs and putting the feelers out there. So you're a sign girl, okay?
Yes.
Like when you want to know something, you kind of watch for signs. And so the strength card shows that is your sign. There's the strength card. And it also represents your, look at the strength card, represents you have the intuitive ability to bring calm to craziness. Okay, but it also means that that is a way that you're able to help people. You're very good at being able to like give them the advice that they need. So the strength card shows that you're definitely meant to do something with your intuition, and that you have the sight. You actually see two different ways. And that's your guidance. It works for you. And then you had what? The last one was the Queen of Wands.
Yeah.
That is like, that's you sitting on your enterprise, your throne, maybe even at your tarot table, right? It means that this month is about your purpose and your future and what you're meant to create. So focus on your career or your side hustle or what it is that you want to develop.
Yeah.
That's awesome for this month.
I love that.
Ah. Okay, Carissa, what did you get?
One more came out, so I have 4.
Of course.
Of course.
And what did you get before the 4? Remember the last one?
Oh man.
The Major Arcana?
Major. Oh. Oh, I got the Page of Wands before the last card. So the first one is the Death card.
Of course. Okay.
Then we have the
Oh
Death,
my gosh. That's crazy.
and then the Page of Wands, and then
So the
last-
Page of Wands was the last one.
the Magician.
Yeah,
It was
but of the 3.
yes.
So you have 2 Major Arcana cards. And both of those are things that you have to learn. So there's lessons in play, destiny is in play. And one of it is the Death card. So whenever the Death card comes up, you are at a place of a new beginning, but there's something that you need to step into that's an easy ride. Now, when you see white horses in the tarot, and to show the Death card, whenever a white horse shows up, that means there's a spirit possession. And I don't mean like, don't mean like spirit possession, like that show, that creepy show where the head's turning. Okay. But it does mean that there is a spirit possession taking place. So spirit is feeding you energy. You're a channel right now. So you have to be open to it. And the next card you had was what? Justice. So that's some kind of breakthrough, something that you need to happen. So there's a new beginning, and there is an unexpected thing that's going to come your way that will show you the universe is on your side. And the reason why it's unexpected is because you received a page. Pages always represent an unexpected happening that comes directly to you. That triggers a new beginning. So your page was of Wands, which represents your career. So there is, and see the hat? See the hat on the page? So you're going from the spirit possession, now you're wearing the hat and the idea. And there's 3 pyramids in play with that card, which represents 3 things. So you're not meant to just do one thing. If you were to be like, okay, I'm going to be, a painter, I'm going to make jewelry, and I'm going to do readings. So there's 3 things that you're meant to do. Okay, and then it's just figuring out the easy way, the way you'd want to do it. right? Do you like to be face and face? Do you want to do retail or do you want it online and it's just automatic? There's lots of options. Maybe you work, you know, a market, you know, like see what guides you. Okay. So career, and that's destiny, 2 cards. So you cannot refuse. If you refuse, when we refuse something in play, chaos always happens. And then we're like, okay, I know, I got to do it. And then all the chaos settles. I mean, it's universe. That's how it works. What did you get, Carolyn?
I'm at work. I didn't bring my cards.
Oh, here, I'll do 3 for you then, okay?
Okay. Do it.
Actually, let's all pick one for her. I'll pick one and then you all pick one and let's see.
I'm on my lunch.
Oh my gosh. Well, this will be posted tomorrow too. Okay. Oh, Pentacles. So look at the help card. And we just,
Oh.
this is helping. So it makes sense with you at work. But this month is actually about finances and finding like the balance as well as the energy. So feeling sometimes, you know, when you're in a flow and it feels like what you're making and what you're doing, it just fits. It feels good, right? It works hand in hand. And sometimes it's like, I'm not getting paid enough. So this is kind of that feeling as well. So you are meant to feel a financial balance that's bringing in good ideas and also being ready to put it into place somewhere. So finances and your physical feeling. What did you get, Shauna? Oh, Ace of Swords. I love aces. So that's breakthrough. That means something is being put to rest. Archangel Michael is in play. He's gotten rid of negativity and now he's ready. You're ready to go. So you're going to experience some kind of breakthrough. Aces are like miracles, unexpected happenings. And it will make put your mind to ease. And that's why it's the sword. What did you get for her, Carissa? Pentacles. So that is as well feeling the balance and having like kind of like 2 lives, right? Like we all kind of do. So yours is like your side thing that you're doing as well as your work and finding that balance and seeing how it actually feeds you. So both of the things that you're drawn to do is feeding you an energy right now that will help you with your breakthroughs. So you might find that your mind kind of thinks differently this month. Yeah.
Nice.
So this month, focus on the timing. So ask about timing. And you want to also focus on the direction. Like, where are you looking? Are you looking at your past or your future? Where is your money? Where is your heart? Right? So we kind of want to look at, are we meant to focus on the present, past, or future with things? And I'm going to post up a new spreadsheet as well, a new tarot spread. Every time I say spreadsheet, I think Excel. It's horrible. So we'll have some fun with the cards that way. So this month, I'll be putting up the 7s, all of the videos. Feel free to listen to all of the videos, go back if you want, and then I'm going to put up a spread right away tonight. And we can take pictures of that spread and practice them, okay? So timelines and whatever I just said. I really can't think. Okay. And with that, I'm going to let you go. Does anyone have any questions before I turn this off? Have any cards been coming up like nonstop? So you kind of want to look for the repeat cards that keep showing up.
Well, I watched the first class video and it was all about the queens, and I drew this earlier and then I did again in the last one.
So yeah, you're in a place of mastery.
Yeah.
So us as women, we have to attain all of the queens. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Right on. Okay, I'm gonna let you go. Have fun this month with your cards. Keep doing readings. We'll practice some yes and no's too. I'm gonna post something on that so you can do quick yes and no answers. Okay. Blessings to you. Have a good night. Bye-bye. This will be posted tomorrow. Okay, bye-bye.